Welcome, welcome everybody. Wow, I can't believe I just made it into the the show. I don't even know if I have my mic working. Hopefully, when we get folks in here, if we get any folks in here today, you guys can tell me if my mic is on and fully set up. Wow, wow. Um, I don't know if one, I'm just checking my my shirt because I literally just threw it on because I was just relaxing watching some highlights from my Mets, who happened to win, by the way, last night. Shout out to my Mets. We won last night. So that's a good thing. Basically just gathering my bearings today, right? This is Hat Tuesday #1, right? The hat of the day is this Knox Custom, and I'll get to that, a little bit later on. But wow, lots of good things happening right now on the channel. Lots of good things happening in life in general, right? So obviously, we know that there's a lot of things that are happening that aren't so great in the world. But I'm just trying to get a little bit of a respite here from all the weirdness that's happening in the world. So hopefully you guys don't think I'm being evasive about it, but in many ways I am, right? There's just I just kind of like to focus on the positive, regardless of who's in political office, regardless of what nastiness that we're seeing out there. Only because I don't know. We just need. I feel like we as human beings have a negativity bias, right? And I try to like buck that trend and really focus on the positive, right? Not to be overly idealistic. I'm just somebody that I've been called Optimist Prime. So shout out to my folks that grew up in the '80s watching Transformers. But that's a moniker that I kind of wear very proudly, right? Because, it's one of those things, it's hard to be optimistic, but our whole country, right? The whole country has been really, man, maybe I'm being a little too narrow here, right? I just feel like the idea of going into business, right? Obviously, business did not begin in the U.S., right? Business has been around for many time, right? For a long time, right? The hat business has been around for a long time. We talked about Zadok Benedict and how he was a pioneer for the U.S. hatting industry, right? And then there were probably many hatters before that, right? He wasn't the first hatter, but right, he's just the first recognized hatter in the U.S. at least. And the idea behind business is sort of optimistic to begin with, right? You got to be optimistic to go and say, okay, I got this product here or this service that I'm going to sell and I'm going to be a success, right? Nobody really starts a business up to fail. Maybe some people do. But in general, I feel like I can speak pretty soundly in that most folks start a business with the intention to succeed, not to fail. They just sometimes happen to fail, right? Yesterday, we talked about John Kavanaugh because we profiled one of my Dobbs hats. And John Kavanaugh was somebody that what we found out from the Chat GPT section of the video was that John Kavanaugh failed his initial company. I believe it was Dobbs Kavanaugh or Kavanaugh Dobbs. I think it was Dobbs Kavanaugh failed in 1931, right? And Ian looked it up and showed that it really was tied, probably had something to do with the Great Depression that was just, getting it started in the U.S. So he eventually folded, I guess, and then, but he didn't quit, right? John Kavanaugh was able to gather his bearings and ultimately re-establish himself, under the moniker of Hat Corporation of America. And that really was kind of like for me at least it was, right? Somebody might argue otherwise. I would say that was the conglomerate. It was kind of big hat, right? Whatever you might view as the analogous company, maybe you might view Amazon as like the new, like, big, as the representative of big tech, right? There's also Google and Microsoft and Apple and all the other players that kind of are bucking for those tech dollars, right? Hat Corporation of America, regardless if you thought of them as V1, they were at least one of the major players, right? If you have to pick three, you're definitely going to put Stetson in there. You're going to put Hat Corporation of America, and I don't know who else, maybe Mallory. Regardless of what you think, they were kind of the major players at that time, and they were competing for your hat dollars, right? And then obviously you can see that those companies now all survived, right? Stetson's the only brand, actually Stetson and Dobbs, right? Because the market shrank, right? So the amount of dollars out there to grab from hat folks, right? So from people that love and support the hat industry just shrank, right? And then now you still have like Stetson around, you got Resistol still around, the brands, right? They may have new ownership, right? But the brands are still around. Mallory's still around? I don't think Mallory's still around. But again, we have brands, and then we have new brands that have kind of taken up the mantle. You got hatters like Hornscove and Huffbud with McHale's shop. You got Paul, you got Kevin with KTG hats. You got D-Bar J, David Johnson over in Las Vegas. You got Wolf Braid in Vancouver. Again, you got many more hatters out there, out there now. Their business is a lot more niche, right? So to a certain degree, of a variety of the hatters that we have now don't have the ability to support themselves just on hatting alone. It's kind of more like a passion project, but they're still out there, right? And with the hatters, we have the hat shops, right? We talked about Bencraft in Brooklyn, obviously Meyer the Hatter in Louisiana, and all the other various hat shops that I can't name off the top of my head that still exist right now and and are thriving. But it's probably because they just have figured out the right level of inventory to have, the right level of service to provide, and they kind of had to refine themselves. And I'm sure if we brought Steve from Bencraft on here, I'm sure Steve could go on, probably fill up several shows of content about all the things that he had to do to make sure that Bencraft hatters. Shout out to Steve, by the way. Thanks for accepting my Facebook request. I had also another piece of news. I'm going to go off on tangents. I don't have anything scripted, just like any day. I'm always talking off the top of my head. But shout out to Brian Forbes. Brian Forbes just accepted my friend request. He actually would like about five or so minutes before I got on here. Brian actually initiated a phone call because I had invited him on. And I'm just going to make sure that Brian's not waiting on me for an invite, because I just don't want to make sure. I want to make sure. YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Let me just make sure I go and I send him a link. Who knows? We might get Brian on here right now. Let's see. You can pop in using this link. Let's see if we get Brian on here. I'm not prepared to interview Brian, but I will go, and freestyle it, just the same, right? If I see Brian pop up here, I will invite him in. He could have a conversation with me. Either way, it's cool. Like I said, I already feel like Brian is like already starting to feel about like getting on here. So if it's not on this stream, we'll get Brian on a formal hat chat stream. So you guys already know that my game plan here with this channel is to offer up kind of a three-headed monster in terms of series, right? I call that three-headed monster. They're probably like, nobody will be watching, right? I have a very small channel, right? So I'm touched that some folks actually pay attention to this little small channel, right? We have Paul of PJ Murphy and Son. Now potentially we got Brian Forbes, we got Kevin. Lots of good things. And again, I'm touched that you guys were willing to rock with me. So we'll see. I mean, I don't have anybody here currently on, but that's okay. I'm kind of going a mile a minute anyway. So if we do get somebody on here, then well, then we'll make it happen. Otherwise, that's fine. Have a program. I have kind of a program in my back pocket to to deal with any kind of issues and any kind of lack of participation on in terms of you guys. But it's okay. I mean, ultimately, like I was mentioning before, my game plan with this channel is kind of to have a three-headed monster. Right, we started off with the Hat Chat series, and I noticed a few trends, right, to kind of give you an idea of what I was kind of thinking. Right, I was thinking about, okay, we have kind of like a good couple formats that that we've given birth to, or discovered in the process of doing the original Hat Chat series, right? Again, the original Hat Chat series was really about, actually, let me make sure that I keep my my tab open to communicate with Brian. I just want to make sure that I'm not ignoring him, any of his messages. So pardon me as I kind of do multitask here. Anyway, ultimately, what I came about to, right, the whole point of this channel and of the Hat Chat series was to bring on either all right, excellent. Brian, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my friend. Thank you so much. So we got. Oh, sorry. I think we lost Brian, but he'll probably be back. Brian, if you hear this, you can use the same link and get back on here. So yeah, so that was Brian Forbes. Wow, he did accept my link. He'll probably pop back in here, and I'll get him back. Hey, Brian. Sorry, I don't know what I don't know if I did that or what, but
I think I might have did. I was clicking off stuff. I had too much stuff on. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, my friend. Thank you. For first of all, let me just make sure I thank you for one accepting my friend request. Right, I don't think we've ever really had an interaction, right? But
No, we have not.
I've spoken about you several times on my stream, and I don't know if you know Paul Murphy. Paul Murphy is a gentleman that is a bespoke hatter in the UK. And we both know you, and we may not know you personally, but we know your content. We know, and we both respect your style, because it's a style that I've been seeing a lot more on Facebook. And for me, like I said, I gotta rock with that guy. Meaning, I gotta get him on here, and I gotta get him talking about his hat journey, right? His life journey, his hat journey. And if, again, I know we didn't really have anything planned. This is kind of just, we're freestyling, right off the top of the dome.
Hey, live
Let's
and
do it.
direct, man. Live and direct. I can break it down real quick, man.
Do it.
I'd say about 7 or 8 years ago, in the 90s, the style of dress was more of an urban baggy fit, excuse me, with the denim baggy
Yeah.
jacket and the pants with the big boots and stuff like that. So I kind of got, getting older and everything, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you're getting old." I say, "Yeah, it's cool to be old though,
That's right.
because otherwise you're dead." So that's where old school came from,
That's
and I've
right.
always been a fan of reggae and the Rasta culture. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Yeah, old school with this Rasta style." I was trying to bring that flavor back, with my
Yeah.
hair. I had an idea in my mind, and I was reaching around to different hat makers all over the world, trying to see who I could get to make this hat.
Yeah.
And a lady in New York, Lisa Schwab is her name.
Okay.
She reached out. She said, "I can make that for you." So I was like, "Hey, let's give it a go." It was a brown beaver, and it was
Yeah.
kind of an open crown rocket. She made it for me. Hat came out real nice, but it wasn't quite the mark I was looking for. So I said,
Yeah.
"Let's do it again." So we tried a blue beaver. The hat came out real nice, still wasn't quite the mark. The problem with the hat was the brim wasn't wide enough. The curve was too close to the head. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, thank you for your time." They're beautiful hats, but it didn't quite hit the mark. And when I got it, I kind of peeled it back and looked at it a little bit, and I was like, "I can do this. I can
Yeah.
do this. I can't find what I'm looking for, but I can do this." So I just started YouTubing and checking out different stuff about how to make hats.
Yeah.
And I just started doing it. I just fake it till I make it, using
That's
cheap
right.
stuff, to get past. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, I start making a few hats, and I'm like, okay, and people start liking them, and I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. So the more they liked them, the more I made them, and I'm probably 1,600 or 2,000 hats in now, and every hat I learned something different, man. You know what I mean?
God
So
bless.
it was a that word right there. God bless. God taught me how to make hats. You know what I
Hey.
mean? Perfect
Amen.
example. One day I was like, how do I get this to happen? And I reached for
Mhm.
my phone to go to YouTube, and the Lord said, wait a minute, do it like this, do it like that, flip it over and
Yeah.
turn it around and sew it. Man, it came out so perfect. I was like, oh, thank you, teacher. That's my
Yeah.
teacher right there. So when people
Yeah.
say self-taught, no, you never self-taught, because you can't learn something from where no knowledge is. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So he just keeps feeding me. Every time I make a hat, I learn something different, and I just thank him
Oh
every
man.
day, you know.
Wow, I think you just gave me a little bit of a chill, you know what I mean? Uh, because like I said, we all kind of have, right? Everybody that's above ground here has their own life journey, right? Uh,
Yeah,
uh, some people worship God, some people worship other things. I'm not going to get into that because I like to respect everybody's views. But regardless, you got to respect it, right? And
yeah.
I love it. Like, so, we're doing this. Like I said, I'm gonna make sure that or right off Jump Street, right? That you're always welcome here. Like, people that rock with you, they can rock with me. And what I'm trying to do is build a community here of like-minded individuals, right? We don't have to be the same. We don't have to look the same, but we can respect each other and respect what we do. And that's why immediately I thought of you when I sent that little button, right? It was kind of like, all right, he doesn't know me from Adam, right? But maybe he sees my my profile picture. Maybe it looks me up a little bit, and maybe he was like, all right, let me see what this guy's about. And thanks for taking a chance on me. I appreciate it, my brother.
Man, look, we all gotta help each other. None of us can't make it by ourselves.
That's
You know what
right.
I'm saying? I want to be the guy when people think of hats, I want my face to pop in their mind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I can't
Oh,
do
yeah.
it by myself. I need people like you with your little show to throw me
Yeah.
out there so people can see me. The
That's
people that
right.
haven't seen me, your people are going to see me today. You know what I mean? And then when
Right.
they introduce me to their people to see me, and it's a big snowball that keeps rolling. And if
Yeah.
you don't help push the snowball for somebody else, nobody's going to help push the snowball for you.
That's right.
So I figured out, man, I don't know this guy from a can of paint, but he's reaching out and giving me a platform for exposure. I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
take it. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you, boss. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
my
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's open invitation, right? So with no obligation, right? No strings attached. I always tell folks, like I said, it's not that I don't like money, right? But I'm doing this more about goes beyond money, right? Because you could
Yeah.
do a lot of good things with money, right? So we can help a lot of people with money. So it can't be the root of all evil, as long as, right?
Hmm.
If you're a jerk and you get rich, you're just a rich jerk. But
You're a
if you're
rich
a good
jerk.
person and you got a lot of money, you can help a lot of people.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
So
We gotta
yeah,
we gotta do this thing together, man. We gotta do this thing together. You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
gotta get
Man,
together.
you just touched me, but just by coming on here already. And then before we get to the particulars, how, like, if somebody watches this show, right? So we don't have anybody live right now, but like I said, I always come up like a network television, right? Once I stop the stream, this goes into syndication. Some of my viewers can watch this later on. How can they get a hold of you, like, to buy one of your hats, or you know what I mean? Just plug your information out there if you want.
Uh, you can follow me on Instagram. My name is Brian Forbes, Brian, last name Forbes, just like the magazine. On
Yeah,
Facebook, Instagram, or you can follow Instagram at OLDS Cool, OLDS Cool, COOL Rasta Style, OLDS Cool. It's cool to be old school.
that's right.
Rasta Style on Instagram. Type it all the way out. Two accounts the same. One has underscores between the words, one doesn't. Follow those two accounts. You'll have access to over 1,600 different hats that I've made, all bistro, one of a kind, and hand stone. You can reach me at 832-659-7575. 832-659-7575. Respectfully. Don't call me and
Hey,
waste my time. Don't call playing on the phone because I don't have time. I got to work.
that's
I
right.
got to ship. I'm a one-man show. Don't
That's
play with
right.
me because I'm not
That's
going to play
right.
with you.
I think you hit the key word, like Aretha Franklin said, RESPECT, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where that's the thing. Like the nice thing about being old is that at some point you start realizing you don't got time for fools, right? You
There you
don't
go,
celebrate
man.
fools. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like you got foolishness, then you just keep that going, because on my channel, I just hit a little button and then you're gone. You know what I
There
mean?
you
And
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a threat, it's a promise. Because
Yeah.
again, if I
It's
don't
an
do it, one of my
absolute promise.
moderators will do it. You
There
know, it's
you
just
go.
like,
I get a lot of people that call inquiring about hats. And I understand, people might, just want to check out and see what the price is or everything like that.
yeah,
But I hate when people say, shoot me the price, shoot me the price. If I shoot you my number, that's saying I'm opening myself up to you. Call me and
yeah,
let's discuss it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, Take it from there.
I bet
If
you
you
got a
don't
lot of
have money,
stories.
don't acting like you got money and place an order and say I'm gonna call you tomorrow or something, and then don't call me back, or you
That's
wasted
right.
all my time for no reason. When
That's
you're
right.
ready, call me and I'll take care of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love you guys. I know I can't make it by myself, so I need your help. Tag
Hey,
in with
you
me,
got it.
and
Like I
what
said,
you're gonna get here is
you're
love and
your
quality.
family right now. So, like I said,
I
it's like Olive
appreciate it.
Garden. When you hear your family,
There you go. I like that. I like that.
well, here's a question. So, right, I'm again, we didn't have anything prepared, but right now, just in what I heard, I got a lot of questions, right?
Hmm.
And again, anything that you don't want to share in terms of like your journey, you got no problem. I respect that. But I grew up. I'm from New York City. I'm a Brooklyn boy. So I grew up around a lot. So I went to college in Jamaica, Queens. Uh,
Okay.
Lots of Jamaicans, lots of Caribbean folk. I went to high school and college with a lot of Caribbean folks. My background, my ancestry is from Puerto Rico. So both my parents were born in the island of Puerto Rico. So obviously there's that Caribbean connection. I got on a Cuban style guayabera, right? And I feel like we have very complementary kind of backgrounds, right? And my question is to you is like, okay, that connection that to that Rasta style, is that because of your background? Do you have a ties to Jamaica?
Man, no, bro.
Okay,
Nah.
no worries.
Everybody thinks I'm from Jamaica. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I've only been to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica last year. The first time I've ever been. Been wanting to go
yeah,
there forever.
no
But
worries.
life holds you at a place until you're ready for certain things to happen. It
Yeah,
wasn't my time to be there. But I was born and raised in North Carolina. I'm a country boy.
we got a
Raised on
connection. We
yeah,
got a
raised
connection because
work working
we,
on the farm, putting in
yeah,
tobacco, picking cucumbers, that type thing.
yeah,
And when it came time to graduate high school, I was like, I got to get out of this country.
yeah,
So I went in the military. And
right,
when I got in the military, um, I met some people that had been to Europe
yeah,
and they got turned on to reggae music. And one day, my next door neighbor in the dorm was playing reggae from Steel Pulse. And I
yeah,
went and knocked on his door and I was like, man, what is that you're playing? That's awesome. And he
yeah,
brought me just gave me a stack of albums. And he said, go ahead and record these and bring them back to me when you're done.
yeah.
Man, I got in there and started listening to that music and lost my mind, bro. Hey, I flipped over. That was like 1982. I've been
Yeah.
turned out since then on reggae music, bro.
I love it.
You
Like I
know,
said, if you don't
so
like music, you don't. I don't know how you might not have a soul, right?
oh gosh, man. Look, if you listen to reggae music and don't like it, something is wrong with you.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, I just got turned on and I fell in love with the culture and everything. I've had dreads down my back a couple different times, and now I'm 60 years old. Hair doesn't grow like it
And you
used to
look
do, but
good. You
hey,
make
thank you,
beautiful
man.
look good.
I'm still trying to hang in there, but yeah, it's I'm a Jamaican. Lady in
Hey, I
Jamaica
love it.
called me that. She looked at my wife. She said, "Your husband is a Jamaican," and
Yeah,
I took that real well. I said, yeah, "I'll take that." But
yeah,
I love the Jamaican culture. I love the vibe, and it just became a part of me, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't try to talk with the patois, nothing like to fake it.
yeah,
No, I don't. I got my own little talk, how I sound, and that's what I am. I'm not
yeah,
Jamaican. I am a country boy from North Carolina
yeah.
with
Shout out to
with
Jamaica.
the
Shout out to
Caribbean
North
vibe.
Carolina.
Big up. Boop.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, shout out to Jerk
Yeah.
Chicken because oh my gosh, Jerk Chicken. If you don't like Jerk Chicken, then you might be just a jerk. That stuff is good.
How
You know
about
what I
that?
mean?
Oxtail, rice, and peas, man.
That's right.
Oh, watch them now.
Yeah. So
That's it, man.
yeah, the other connection, right? So you mentioned North Carolina, right? So anybody that studies the history of African Americans in New York knows that chances are, if you bump into an African American person in New York, and they know their ancestry, they probably date back to North Carolina, right? And that's because of like the Jim Crow laws back in the day. A lot of folks in the South, including North Carolina, they went and said, "We got to get out of here." So they went.
Yeah.
A lot of them for jobs and just to get out of they went up north, and a lot of them settled in the New York area.
Yeah, New York,
You
DC, Maryland area. Yeah, because
yeah,
my parents actually stayed up in Washington, DC
yeah,
when I was really small until they moved back to North Carolina, you know.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
they went up there, I guess, when they were young in their early 20s. Oh, we got to get out of this country, get to the city and make it.
yeah.
But once they got there and saw the hustle and bustle of it, I guess they decided, well, we don't want to do this. We went back to North
Yeah,
Carolina, you
yeah,
know, and that they're right there to this day, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, a lot of people made that move up there.
yeah. And I like movies, so like if you want to get a little good example, right? You watch American Gangster with Denzel Washington, and you see he played Frank Lucas, and Frank Lucas is a guy from North Carolina. And then obviously again, I don't glorify gangsterism, right? But at the same time, I do enjoy a lot of gangster movies, and that's a great movie. And he goes and he brings his family and his mom back to New York from North Carolina. So it's like that right there. It's like, okay, that's a good example right there to like at least see that tie, because I think a lot of folks, they don't know where they came from. You know what I mean?
How about this right here? The guy you were just talking about, what was his name?
Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas, right?
Yeah.
His mother used to live right beside my mother.
Wow.
I'm talking about 30 feet, house 30 feet apart.
Wow.
Okay. Frank Lucas used to come and visit his mother in a limousine out in the country in Stantonsburg, North Carolina.
Wow.
And I would see the limo over there at the house. And I didn't know. It's just, okay, her son's got some money. I guess he was a pimp or whatever. That's what I used to think back in the day. He'd be there for a while and he'd take off every now and then. You see him. I did not know until that movie came out. My mom told me, she said, you remember the limo used to come over next door to come visit the lady?
Yeah.
I think her name was Dora May or something like that.
I think you
Anyway.
might be right.
Right. I said, yeah. She said, that was Frank Lucas. I said, what? She said, yes. Wow. I grew up right beside her. She finally moved away probably in the later 70s. Yeah, because we moved into that house in 1970. And I graduated high school in 82 and I left during that 12-year period. I can't remember exactly when they left, but I used to see him come over there to visit because he would get out of the car with this big old mink coat on and stuff, and I was like, whoa, he's a pimp. That was in my mind. But yeah, it's a small world, bro.
Wow, small world, right?
Yeah.
Like we think about always about like how big this world is, but right now, thanks to the internet, thanks to air travel, and thanks to the fact that we can go and have these conversations, even though we don't live in the same place, right? I'm actually in the DC area myself. I live in the suburbs, though. I'm actually in Northern Virginia, but love DC. This hat was originally made for a shop in Washington, D.C., right? It's like when I saw this hat, I usually buy vintage, but that's kind of how I started in the hat game. But now I'm like, I met Paul, I got yourself. Now I owe it to you guys to go and share my dollars and share my time, right? Because again, I'm a big believer. You're the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So
there you go.
Right. Even if you got a network that's way bigger, the 5 people, right, that you spend the most time with, you're gonna go and you're gonna be like them, right? So if you go and you look at your top 5 and you don't like what you're seeing, it's time to get rid of you. Time to start cleaning house, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I heard that on Facebook. It was saying you emulate what you're around all the time. You know what I mean? Exactly what you just said. So I found myself lately being my craft is my friend.
Yeah.
You know, more than anything. I mean, I used to be in a motorcycle club. I had a lot of friends or associates, should I say. But anyway, it's that that dropped back tremendously, man. I got 60 years old and I just feel different.
Yeah.
Like I said, I ain't got time for the bull and all the extra nonsense.
That's
You know, I'm
right.
thinking about, what it's going to be like the next couple of years, making
Yeah.
myself comfortable and doing something that's positive. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So,
Yeah. I'm blessed just to kind of hear, like I said, just short of 50 years old, right? So I got my little experience. You mentioned that you were 60. Paul is the other hatter that comes on here from in the UK, right? So he's all over in the UK, and he's close to 70, I believe. Hopefully I didn't age you too much, Paul. If I'm wrong, but Paul's a good guy. And we both knew of you, and we're now it's like, wow, you see that? It's kind of like the lotto. You got to be in it to win it, right? If I didn't hit
yeah.
that button, maybe we would never even know each other.
Absolutely, man. And then I saw it. I was like, every morning I wake up and I look at my phone. Okay, who's reaching out? Because usually it's early in the morning, especially if people from the UK or
Yeah,
from somewhere foreign. Did I wake you? Yeah, you did, but it's okay. You know what I
yeah,
mean? This time frame of the world and the way people are moving and shaking, you got to get in where you fit in.
that's
So
right.
I'm trying to get in where I fit in. Okay, let me jump up, wash my face, and brush my beard and throw on a hat and jump on here. You
That's
never
right.
know what
A
can
closed
happen.
mouth
You know
don't
what I'm
get fed,
saying?
right?
Yep, yep,
So
yep. You got to be ready. So I'm trying to be ready, trying to be in place, and let everybody know I'm here. I'm ready
yeah,
for your service. You know what I mean? I'm ready to serve you guys. You
yeah,
know?
and I'm down. I'm already down. So you already got somebody, right? Like I said, regardless, right? So again, this is kind of like the look I typically go for. It doesn't mean I can't support a fellow hatter. Again, I'm not a hatter. I don't make hats, but I feel like we got to support each other, because if we don't, then we're not like, like I said, it seems like you're doing well and you're ascending. But like I said, if we don't support other fellow hatters, then they're gonna go away. They're gonna find something, because they can't support their craft, right?
There you
And we
go.
lost so many hatters because of that, right? So many hat brands, big brands, right? We're not talking about small brands, big brands, like the folks that made this hat. They went away because, well, again, the number of people that wore hats shrank, right? And they did what they could to survive, but they couldn't make it, right? So
Yeah, I think what's happening is the lack of people that are interested in wearing hats.
yeah,
Um, it's making it really hard for a brick and mortar to even try to exist. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because you got so much overhead, and then to try to make a good hat. Oh, stamped hats from China is one thing, but a real custom hat, you can't replace that. You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
You can't replace that. So big up to all the guys who are still out there just doing it the real way and standing firm on their business and not, selling for less. I appreciate
Yeah,
that, because to keep this going, you have to keep the quality there. You can't settle for less. You can't start ordering this cheap China stuff and
right,
try to push it off on people talking about this quality. No.
right.
A lady called me the other day and she was talking about a hat, and I love this hat. And she showed it to me. I said, no, no, that's a
Yeah,
Chinese. That's an $8 hat decorated with bling bling on it. And she said,
right.
you're absolutely right. I said, you paid $22 for that. She's like, yeah, I
Yeah,
paid like $35. I said, I can't even get my material to start making a hat for
right,
that. You know what I mean? So when you come here, you got to be ready for quality, because that's what you're gonna get. And like I tell everybody, people are seeing their call real quick. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, you love it. So you
right,
know it can't be cheap. You
right.
haven't seen anywhere else, so it can't be cheap,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
right.
know that when you see something custom, you got to be willing to pay for custom. And if you're willing to pay for custom, I'm gonna give you what you pay for here for
Yeah.
custom. All
Hey,
right.
I love it. And I just wanted to make sure before we got Paul, for PJ Murphy and Son, he's out in the UK. We were just talking about you, Paul. This is Brian Forbes. You know him because we talked about him and his style, and now we got him, right? Look at this. This is
It's
like our
fantastic to
stuff.
see it, Brian. I've been watching your channel. I'm a big car buff, and I think you showed you had a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. I used to have a bright green Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith as a company car, and you know, I just love what you're doing. It's way out there. I'm trying to do something that's very niche, and there's room for everybody. But I love what you just said about quality and price, because here in the UK, you know, we're going through a renaissance, I think, of the hats coming back. But a lot of the time, I'm talking to people at length to explain to them why, as individual hatters, we charge what we do for the hats, because, you know, our competitors are getting the molds made in the metal molds, and they're getting the hat felts pressed. You know, even down to people like Lock & Co. and Herbert Johnson and Bates and so on. These are big brand names, but to get through the hundreds of hats they get through, they have to have them all pressed, and they get them done in Luton and area, and then they bring them to their showrooms, as far as I know, and then dress them out. Of course, they still make handmade hats, but I think probably like myself, Brian, you know, I'm starting from a piece of felt from FEPSA, and they are expensive felts, and then you work your magic, or in my case, you do your best. And you know, if people love them, fantastic. You know, it's lovely to hear.
They don't understand the cost that goes into it. And so when you say, okay, this hat is $400, it's like, okay, it may be a lamb's wool that's been hand dyed or something like that cost over $100 just to get the cape line to begin to stretch it. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to do all this extra stuff to it, and they'll say, well, okay, why does the straw cost the same thing as the felt? Because, well, the same process has to be gone through to make it happen. You know what I mean? You got to run around that circle 4 times to make a lap, make a mile. You know, either way you turn it, you know, the same thing has to be done to get to the end. So it's like, you know, it is really not a cheaper hat because of the material, because everything is so expensive now. It's like every time I get ready to go back and order, it's like the price is going up again. You know what I mean? I got in this game, and a beaver cape line was like $75. Now it's over $110 before you even start.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Guys out there, I do. I mean, there was one gentleman that I've got as a customer. He's bought a few hats from me. He went on the FEPSA website, and of course, as a customer, they can see the samples, but they can't see the pricing. And he wanted a very wealthy gentleman, but he wanted a peppermint green, and it was a mint green. It was absolutely lovely in beaver felt, but it was £360, so $500, I guess that is, just for felt alone. You know, and what the way I put it is that I don't know whether I've got this right, but it takes me to make a hat like this with the trimming around the brim and everything else, to make up the lining myself and everything. It takes about 5 hours, between 4 and 5 hours. And you know, I say to people in the UK, I said, look, you know, it's not unreasonable for me to be asking £40 an hour to cover all my equipment, which costs hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds actually, plus my time and my premises. You know, it's really not unreasonable, and actually I earn a lot more than that doing my other work, but you know, for the love of hats, you do it. But I can't get any more than, about label wise, about 150 to 200 pounds per hat, and then plus the materials in the UK. In America, it's a little bit different, because I've been doing things like I'll just show you these, Brian, because you probably haven't seen them, but I've been doing the you know, the open road type and these are all FEPSA felts, and this one's a 50% beaver, 50% rabbit. But you know, that's like £380. What's that, about $500, I guess, for that something like that.
And here you said that's a beaver blend. So I gotta have at least $450 for that hat here. You know what I mean? By the time I put it together and everything, and see, a lot of people have blocks that shape their tops and stuff. All my blocks are open crown. So any top that has a design or a shape, it's all handwork. You know what I mean? So a lot of these you can't. I seen other hat makers make my shapes and stuff. I had a lady call me last week, and she showed me a hat she ordered from some guy in Atlanta, and she showed it to me. I said, "That's my hat."
No.
He just copied my hat. I have a hat called a Gumby, where it has a dent. You know what I'm talking about.
It's
the Gumby. And I was like, okay. And my wife said, maybe she asked him to make it for her because she didn't want to pay you or whatever. I said, well, I guess that's something I have to deal with, being the bold creator I am and trying to be a individualist,
Right.
because
So you got
you
a
can't you can't
copycat.
you can't stop people from copying you. I have to look at it as a compliment and keep it moving.
Yeah,
You know
Yeah.
what
that's
I
what
mean?
we do in the
And
UK, I'm afraid, Brian. It's
mhm,
I guess it's difficult to come up with a new idea, and when people see the new idea or the new style or the new shape, everybody wants it, but nobody really, not many people want to pay for it. I mean,
there
I
you
think
go.
you might be in business. We say there's the Pareto's law, 80-20. So 20% of my clients will buy 80% of my hats over the year. I've only been doing this for a couple of years now, so I'm probably nowhere near as long as you. But what I'm finding is I've got people now that are on maybe 8, 9, 10th hat that you've bought from me. So these are really key people that I'm building a
Re-
personal relationship with, and I'm
repeat
really loving
customers,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, regular customers.
Repeat customers. And I tell them, if you call the first time when you buy something from me, you call, you place the order, you have to pay full price. Don't look for a discount.
Yep.
Okay. If you want a discount, go to Target. Don't come here calling me talking about I need a discount right off the bat, because
Yeah.
right there you're telling me you don't respect my craft. Okay.
Right.
Pay full price. Don't haggle with me. Don't fuss with me. And
Yeah.
from there, every time you come back, I got some kind of discount for you,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
because
do
I
the
love
same.
people that come back.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
And
people
you know
that
what?
come back.
I take them through the care of the hat, Brian, as well. And
Uh-huh.
I ask them, do you know how to care for a beaver hat or a blend hat or rabbit hat? And most of the time they say, well, not really. So I send
They
them the
don't.
instructions all written up. I give them a proper hat brush. And to be fair, I
Mhm.
bring these hat brushes in from China, and I bring them in bulk, so they're not that expensive, but they sell for about £30 over here. So I guess
Yeah.
that's $40 or something.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yeah,
give
about
them one of
40.
those and just say to them, look, if you really want to get the value out of what you're buying here, look after it,
Yeah.
and I put it in I'm sure you must do the same. Put it in a nice hat box so that when they're not wearing it, they've got somewhere to store it that's not going to get dusty. It's not going to get out of shape. They've got it with the brim up and the crown down and all these things that you're supposed to do. And actually, they like the story. In the UK,
Mhm.
the ones I'm talking to, they seem to like the story and the pride of ownership of something that's quite special.
Yeah, yeah. I get people that call and ask, how do you store your hats? Or how do like you said, want to know how to maintain them so they can get some longevity out of them. I say,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to know, because you don't want to spend $400, $500, $600 for a hat and wear it a couple times and now it's all moshed up. You can't put it back on again. So I tell people my way of storing my hats. I put a little stud on the wall, and
Same.
I just hang the hat on the stud, and I make sure I got it in a plastic bag so it can't collect dust and
I don't do
just
that.
foreign particles from the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
a
I
great
also say, after about a week or two, depends on what climate it is, rotate the hat. Rotate the hat on the stud, because the
Yeah.
hat has weight on it. It's going to start to sag.
Right.
Turn it, make a quarter turn. Like every week, do like a quarter
Yeah.
turn, and you should be fine. And
Like
then if you wear the hat, when you take it off, leave it out of the bag overnight so it can dry out. You know what I mean? Because it might not be wet to the touch, but the moisture builds up just by wearing a hat. So
Yeah.
let it air dry before you, at least one night before you put it back in the bag. And I think that's a good way to maintain your hats. And you can get some more time out of them. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I might be considered sad, but I sometimes have a hat night where I'll come into my study. This is my study in my hat room. It's not a very big room, but I've on the wall there, I've got maybe 25, 30 hats, and I rotate those hats. But I'll
Yeah.
come in here, put the steamer on, and it'll be my time. And I'll take a hat off and I'll steam it. And I'll look in the mirror. How do I look with that today? Do I need some turnaround? Do I need some, or whatever? And just get the pleasure out of remembering how I made that hat. And in some cases, I remember one hat. I just didn't get it. It was one of my early hats that I made. So I just totally deconstructed it and rebuilt it. Just
Uh-huh.
to to make sure that I got the best value out of the felt, so to speak, and I felt happy with it.
Yeah, I've been doing that lately too. I had a little tabletop sale a couple weeks ago, and I got hats that have been here for 5 years. You know what I mean? And people looking at that's still sitting there that long. It's like, yeah, it's waiting for you to take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But see, after it's been here for 5 years, it's been over there, it's been over there, it's been hanging here, it's been over there. You pull it out of the bag and you look at it. Oh, so now, like you said, you got to spend a few minutes to make sure it's steamed right and it's sitting like it originally was supposed to be. You know, because like anything, like your house, if you don't clean your house once a week, you're going to have stuff built up in the corner that you might not see. And then after a couple of years, you can be like, whoa, this one got out of hand. You know what I mean? So you got to keep a check on stuff. I tell people, you get a hat custom made, a beaver, a rabbit or something, it's alive.
That's right.
It's alive. It has its own personality. Every hat has its own personality, the way the felt moves when you try to work it or whatever. Every hat has its own personality. So you have to treat them just like individuals.
Right.
If you want to get the full effect out of them. You understand? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, I
you
talk
know,
about that.
Like you make a hat and you ship it off to somebody and they don't wear it for 6 months. Oh, my hat's too small because you didn't put it on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Felt, as we've seen, you know, felt can shrink as well as stretch. And
yeah,
I mean, you're absolutely right in what you say, and it's just a lovely experience, you know, to go through it. To be honest, you know,
so educating people is a big part of it. A lot of times you have to educate people before you can get them to buy. You know what I mean? So
that's what I think
you have to spend the time.
Yeah, I think you know, coming on here with Luke is great because certainly with my I've got a little YouTube channel. You may have seen it, may not, but it's just showing people how to refurbish older hats, because in the UK a lot of people are buying second-hand hats, but then they've got to rebuild and refurbish them. And today was great. I actually got a purchase. Somebody purchased a hat from my website today, but there was a story behind it, and the story was that he'd bought an old hat. He used my videos to restore it. Then he saw a video where I'd restored a Borsellino. He fell in love with it and he bought the Borsellino. So, and now he's like, he can't wait to get the Borsellino and he wants to order his next one. Now, to me, that's great, because unbeknown, I've helped educate that gentleman. He's really enjoyed it and he's got into the hat that he's got, not having any sales pitch from me. And he's come and bought a hat. How great is that, you know?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
These channels, and Luke's channel is sort of starting to, I think, hopefully get through to a few people and share the experience.
I think we just gotta keep pushing it. And like myself, I don't know if you're like myself, but when I step out, I got a hat on. I'm my own walking advertisement. Usually people ask me before I even say this, man, where'd you get that hat? Here's my chance to share my card, you know, and share my information and educate people about hats. You know what I mean? So I love it. It's a full-time job for me because I love it. You know what I mean? I love it. And if I make a few dollars, hey, that's great. But I love it first. I loved it first.
It's fantastic that you've managed to make it a full-time job. I mean, I'm coming up to retirement here in the UK from my main business interest, but I'm still going to carry on. And actually, the hat making has become more and more important to me. But what I said to Luke, and I would like to ask you a question, if I may, and that's that, you know, I sort of sell anywhere between 15 and 35 hats a month. Okay, so it's not big business, it's just okay business. But you know, what it means is that I keep maybe 60 hats already made in stock, and then I usually have about 120, 150 of the felts, of both, you know, of lightweight, dress weight, and Western weight in stock. Is that the sort of split that you would? I mean, how do you see your stock, and do you have suppliers in America, or do you get them overseas? So therefore, you don't have to keep so much in stock, or
I got a guy in New York that I get my my supplies from, and Manhatco. His name is Raymond Manhatco in New York. I'm gonna shout him out. Manhattan, man, he's been taking care of me for the last 7-8 years, and Like I got off the phone with him this morning. I need a rush order. I need material in day after tomorrow. So I called him, and he's going to get it here to me. You know what I
Brilliant.
mean? I like to give him more time, but if I need it that quick, he'll get it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I try to deal with him, and I try to be exclusive with him, because
Right.
when I need something, he'll bend over and make sure I'm taken care of. You know what I
Right.
mean? That way I don't have to keep a whole lot of inventory. Like you said, you're working in a small place. I'm in a small place, but I try to keep 100 to 150 hats already made in the inventory,
Yeah.
Wow.
plus my own personal collection. If somebody has a special need, or I show them something and they just have to have it, I'm not married to a hat. I can go make it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do got a few girlfriends upstairs that I call my own, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I try not to keep too much around, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive to have a whole lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
inventory laying around here.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
a stack over here right now. I probably got about 20 straws, probably about 25, 30 different color, multicolored camouflage beavers, wool felt hat bodies, just a
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
variety of different stuff that I try to keep certain colors in stock, because I know those are the ones that sell. And
Right.
I like putting Louis and leather and stuff on the bottom, so I keep me some rows of different color leathers. And but I try not to keep more than like 2 yards, 2, 3 yards at a time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And once that's gone, or I see it really getting low, I go ahead and reorder some more and keep it
Yeah.
Yeah.
moving like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's interesting about the materials for the hat bands, and when I'm doing a hat like this, for instance, where
Right.
this
Yeah.
material on here, I'll buy in 3 or 4 yards or meters of
Yeah,
that, but it might be a couple of meters wide, and of course that will make several hats. So
exactly. Hmm.
we've got a couple of cupboards here that are full up with the various materials. Which I absolutely love, to be honest with you, because there's so many nice material shops around, and
Yeah,
they're quite surprised when you come in there and you start talking a technical thing about materials, or sizes and weights and all this sort of thing. They seem to be quite surprised, which is always a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. They don't expect people to come in talking about hats
No.
in depth like you or myself are going to be talking about them,
Sorry.
Yeah.
because as far as people are concerned, mostly it's like is it too hot to wear that? Can I wear that hat in the winter? I can wear that in the summertime. I said, look,
Yeah.
get in where you fit in, because probably 99% of the time, if you're going to be wearing one of my hats or one of your hats, you're going to have a drink in your hand, sitting back
Right.
in the air conditioning somewhere. You're not going to be running laps around those fields
Right.
sweating.
You're
You know
making
what I mean?
mistakes.
So there you
I
go.
mean,
You're making mistakes.
I'm a bit vertically challenged, so I need to cover up in the
Yeah,
sun.
yeah. Or
So
or
you know,
do you make women's hats? I say, hey, men
yeah,
wear pants. If a woman puts her husband pants on, if they fit them, you can
Right.
walk in them, right? Hey,
That's
did
right.
that answer the question?
yeah,
She's like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Get in where
Why
you
would you
fit in. That's
alienate
what I say.
50% of the population, right?
yeah.
Hey,
Well, it's a very good point that you have, because my wife's been saying to me, she said, Paul, you really ought to make some women's hats. And do you know what? This week I've had an order from a woman that actually wants. In fact, I've got it behind me. She happens to be a gamekeeper, and she wants one of these bad boys made for her. So
okay.
but she's a size 61, so a bit like Morgan, quite
Yeah.
a big head. So that's the block is here, and I've staged it down with this, because this is one of my big blocks that does the sort of 6-7 inch crown. So I stage it down with an 18 mil plywood, so that I can get a better shape.
Yeah.
But
Tell me this. What's
Yeah.
the largest hat you've made?
It probably is 61 and a bit. That's all. That's probably, I mean, in the UK, the average size is 58.
Yeah, that's
So
what I wear, like a 59, like a
is
7
it?
and a
Yeah.
quarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a guy from Puerto Rico ordered a hat from me. He wears a 8.5.
Yeah.
You
Whoa.
understand me? Eight
Even
and a
bigger than my
half.
dad
Thank
did.
God he's a tattoo artist, so he
Yeah.
drew the actual circle so I can make the block for him, right?
Yeah.
So what I
Yeah.
did was I was like, oh man, I made him a size 8. That's the largest block I had at the time. A guy over in Italy makes my hat blocks for me.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's the largest one I had. So he was telling me a size 8. I made the hat for him, and man, when he sent me a picture, the hat was sitting up on top of his head. Like, oh, I was like, what in the hell? I said, bro, what size is your head? So he drew the little circle and sent it to me. And when I measured, it was an 8.5.
Wow.
Right. So what I did was I went to Michael's and I bought a block of styrofoam, and I fashioned my own block. You know, I made my own block with a butter knife. I just shaved it down and made a block for him, and it worked out really good. I actually just made another hat for another guy. His head is that big too, and I was like, and he don't have dreadlocks. It's just head.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man. But when I could put it on and it just drops my whole head, just covers me up to the shoulders, bro.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm surprised you
That's
can
a
get
big
the material, the raw caplin, to do that size of head, because I don't know whether you know this, Luke, but these caplins, they come in different sizes, and then you sort of buy them like small, medium, large, extra large, and you can stretch them out, you know, a couple of sizes. And sometimes actually, if you use enough steam and water, you can actually stretch them out quite a lot. But so
here's what I do, boss. I get it's a grocery bag. You know, these thick grocery bags, the plastic one.
Yeah.
I put the hat inside the cape line, inside of that plastic bag, and cinch it up. And I stick the hose on my steamer up inside of the bag.
Yeah.
Okay. And what that'll do is that'll soften the whole cape line, not just the crown part. It'll soften the whole cape line. And then when you slam it on the block really quick while it's steaming hot, it'll stretch really quick. You can get a lot more stretch out of it. Careful not to go too far, because you know you can pop them real quick. But you can feel it, man. But you got to get it really hot, and you can get more of a wide brim out of that. You know, and that's what I do. Because I most of my crowns start at 8-inch crown. You know what I mean, off a block.
Yeah, I mean that's out there, isn't it? That's really random. Although that's quite there's a few people in the entertainment industry in the UK that are wearing that style of hats, and or your style of hat. So it's becoming more popular over here.
Yeah.
Now, and then some. If it's too tall, I have to use 2 cape lines. I use one for the crown and one for the brim. You know what I mean? You pull, you get a cape line. Don't stretch it at all. Just cut a hole in the top and pull it over the block. And you only have like a 2-inch crown coming up. And you get your brim. You can get all the brim. You can get probably up to 7-inch brim, 8-inch brim. And then for the crown, block it and stretch it and get all your length and just trim it off right at the base and sew the 2 together. Wow. You know what I mean? That's how I do some of the, like the Erykah Badu real tall ones.
Yeah.
A lot of that felt, you can't stretch them that tall. You got to use 2 pieces.
Yeah. Shout out to Erykah Badu, by the way.
Yeah. Big up.
Excellent artist. Like, you know, one of the tremendous artists that we have that, you know, still around and doing it. But Kevin, sorry, Brian, I had a question for you, because I seen this in a lot of your posts. You would use the term rockers. Is rockers just a term that you use, or is it or does it describe your style that you have? Like,
it describes the style. Back in the 70s, Jamaican artists, UK artists, reggae artists that were kind of say the big hitters, the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
The ones that actually had albums out and they was touring and doing their thing. The guys that were wearing beavers back then. Okay, the open crown rockers, the beaver fedoras with the slides over to the sides and stuff like that. Those are what I call rockers. Right. If it had an open crown, or if the brim was turned up in a little bit, I call that a rocker. Right. Because it represents that yard man vibe, that UK sound boy energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what old school Rasta style is trying to bring back. What the guys were looking like back in the 70s. Shirt buttoned up with a sweater, a pair of loafers on with a badass hat. You know what I mean? Something that stood up. They're kicking to the side, or they're kicking back to the back like Gregory Isaacs did, or they just have on an uptown rocker with open crown, just boom, full of dreadlocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wore dreads down my back for years. And I used to love that style, man. Just love that style. And then over here, I couldn't find the hats. I got the locks, but I couldn't find the hats. So I went to Brooklyn, New York, back in 1997, and I went to Flatbush, a place called Ethiopian Imports. And when I
Wow.
walked in the door, they had all kind of Rasta hats, leather buckets. Oh man, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I walked in there, the Rasta man was standing behind there. Now, mind you, I got dreadlocks down to my butt. I walked in, they looked at me. Now I'm working for a life science and analytical instrumentation company called Perkin Elmer, where at
Yeah.
the time I was basically an engineer, and we were building life science and analytical instrumentation, DNA
Yeah.
sequencers, proton analyzers, and stuff like this. Where me being based in California, they would send me back to Connecticut with the research and development team to put
Yeah.
together new instruments, right? Because I was technical like that. So
Yeah.
once we get it built up, I would bring it back to California and we set up the manufacturing line and reproduce these instruments. Okay. But anyway, free trip to Brooklyn. I'm gonna go get me some hats. I walk into this store and I tell the roster man, I said, look, I'm gonna just start grabbing hats and set them on the counter.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna decide which one I'm gonna take with me, man. So I had like 7 hats on the counter. It's like, whoa, these are all bad. And then I'm looking at them. I'm like this. If I like something, I'm gonna pick it out. I'm gonna go get it, and then I'm gonna look at the price. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cheat myself. I like this. Now let's see how much it costs.
That's
Looked
right.
at the prices. I'm like 300, 400, 2. Whoa. Okay. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get all of these. I'm gonna get 3 of them.
Right.
I walked out of there with 3 bad leather hats, man, that I wore for years.
Yeah.
Wasn't thinking about making a hat myself at all. Wore them for years, all the way from 97 up to like 2010. Cut locks off, hats started getting missing, giving them away. See people with locks. Oh, this will look real good for you. Here, take this.
Yeah.
And now I need some hats. I can't find what I'm looking for. So here
Yeah.
we go. That's when I
Yeah.
got into the hat game. So
Like,
now I can't see myself buying a hat from anybody or wearing anybody else's hat ever again, man. I
yeah.
swear.
And that's
Yeah.
what I love, right? Because you just described like a hat journey, right? Like
Yeah.
if you rock with my channel for a little bit, you will see that I talk about our life journey, our career journey, and then our hat journey, and then they all overlap, right? Obviously, because all of us happen to be above ground, so we're all still on our life journey.
There you go.
And now we know about our hat journey. You just shared your career journey as well as some of your hat journey. Paul has shared as well about, all aspects of his journey. And like I said, we all kind of know, right? Like kind of you remember your first girlfriend.
Yeah.
You remember your first hat, right? And it might not, you'd be like, wow, I don't know what I was thinking, right? Right? Might be the same thing with the girl too, right? But you're like, all right, everybody remember the first one, right? And but it doesn't mean, because it's pivotal, right? Everybody respects the original. And even if you're like evolved your style, you've evolved your life, right? I'm a big believer in not staying stagnant, right? Your collection shouldn't stay stagnant, just like your life shouldn't be stagnant, right?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, all right, we all got a path and we all go in different, we might be going different ways, but we all intersect at some point in time, right? We all got here somehow, some way onto Good Luke's. And now probably like, I feel like we're going to still keep rocking with each other. And I hope that we do, because again, like it just blows my mind. Like this right now, you've already made my day, Brian. You already made this like a success by just sharing a little bit of your time, because that is the most valuable resource, right? No matter what, the most valuable resource that you have, whether you know it or not, and I'm pretty sure these gentlemen already that here with me know that, is your time.
There you go.
Can't replace that.
There you go. There you go. That's why I say don't waste my time. I mean, I'll sit here and talk to you all day, but buy a hat from me. Don't sit here and talk to me all day and then say goodbye.
Yeah.
And don't
That's right.
we all do what we do for a reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
We love it, we enjoy it, but at the end of the day, we got to have some food on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I love it, and I want people to love it. So I'm open to anybody. I chat and I explain as much as I can. I'm not the crest of knowledge on this. I got it, and I've been learning as I go. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely not ahead of knowledge on this, but I do feel like I have some fingers with a little touch of something on them. You know what I mean?
You definitely got something.
And,
You caught my attention. You caught Paul's attention. We mentioned you because we're like, oh, man, we got to get that guy on here. You know, so I have no ideas. Like I got two moderators, Ian, he's on a train right now. Shout out to Ian. He's in London, and I don't know. Like I said, I put it out there. Like I got like a group chat going that I call my board of directors. Right, Paul's on it. Morgan, who's 19 years old from New York City, she's on it. Shout out to Morgan, wherever you're at right now. We miss you, but like I said, I know you're busy, just like we're all busy. But Ian always rocks with me. And like I said, Brian, I extend the same invitation to you. Is anytime you want to pop on here, you don't need my permission. If you want, I can add you to the group chat, because what I'll do is every time I go live, I share the link, right? That link I gave you, it changes every single time. I'll share that with you. Again, no obligation. You don't ever have to show up here again if you don't want to. But you're always welcome here to plug your business. Two, you know, even if you just come out here to say hi, and you don't have to stay, right? So you can pop on here, say, hey guys, what's up? And then bye, right? Like everybody has their own thing, but obviously you can stay here as long as you want. Like we didn't work anything out. We did this, like I mentioned, we freestyled it right at the top of the dome, because again, I don't like scripts. I'm not Robert De Niro, and I can't read from a script. That's just not the way I'm built.
Hey, that's how I like to do it too, man. Hey, we live and direct. We did the live a couple weeks ago. My daughter said, "Pop, we got to put a script." So I said, "Nah, we just gonna do it off the cuff. We're gonna give it to them raw, and that's how they're gonna get it, because that's how we roll. You know what I mean? Be ready, so you don't have to get ready. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the invite, and do that. Send me the link, and when I got time. You let me know when you're on, and I'll pop on, man. I'll make time, you know what I'm saying? Because it's helped me as well, giving me exposure.
Yeah, that sounds good. What I'm going to do for you, Brian, is I'm going to, I'll add you to that group chat. Like I said, you don't have to, like I have another guy, Kevin, who's in Queens, New York. He runs Hacks and Guitars channel. Yeah, shout out to Kevin. He's on there, but he doesn't really post because he's also, he's busy. He's a busy man. I know
Kevin. Yeah. Kevin and I follow each other. Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get Kevin on here as well. Yeah, he's a good dude. Very good dude. And like I said, it's a pleasure. You've already made this a success, Brian. So like I said, whenever you need to pop out of here, you can do that. You can pop in and pop out as much as you please. This is your house now.
All right. I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you. And nice meeting you, Paul.
Yeah, you too. A real pleasure. I've been dying to have a chat. So thank you for your time.
Yeah. All right, then. Look on Instagram, Facebook. Give me a follow, and I'll follow you right back, Paul. Maybe we can communicate a little more. Okay.
You got it, my friend.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thanks a lot. And Luke.
Yes, sir.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, man. Oh man, you made my. I'm gonna talk about this for the rest of the week. I'm probably so. I appreciate it. We're gonna talk. This is only the beginning.
All right, boss. I appreciate you. Hit me up next time, and I'll jump back on here, and we can chop it up some more. Okay.
You got
Once
it.
Once again, Paul. Nice meeting you. And Luke, you take care. Have a wonderful day, boss. Everybody, follow Old School Rasta Style and big up yourself. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
All right. Ciao, my friend.
Big up.
Oh man, that was awesome. Wasn't that great?
Wow, that was a surprise. And yeah, I mean, I've been following Brian's styles and admiring his work for quite a while, and to actually get to meet him and actually share some thoughts with him is a real pleasure. I consider people like Brian a part of hat royalty. It's these are people that have made a difference, and people like myself have got a long way to go to to aspire. But we're trying. But to actually get them on the show at this early stage, you've done well. So that's brilliant.
Thank you, man. I don't know. Like I said, I sent out friend requests to a few people. Brian was one of them, and I had no he doesn't know me from Adam. So literally 5. So he had accepted my request maybe yesterday, or I forget when, but 5 minutes before I went live, he called me on Messenger. And I couldn't pick up. I just said, I'm like running around my studio here. My man cave. I'm running around my man cave, just trying to get everything ready, making sure my mic is on. So I told him, I said, hey, can't talk right now, but would love to talk later. Actually, what I'll do is I'll message you if you want to get on live and talk and introduce ourselves. Then you can do that. no obligation. You know how I always do it. And sure enough, he popped on here, and we just basically had an extemporaneous conversation. And then you ended up joining on, Paul, and my God, like the fireworks, right? So for me, in my brain, I'm like, I got all the adrenaline going. I'll probably have a big adrenaline dump at the end of this, because again, that was the whole point of this. The whole
It's
point
great.
was
I mean, real lovely experience. I mean, to be able to get, if there was 2 or 3 of us on here, we'd all be throwing around ideas and things, and it would really start getting interesting. Absolutely interesting. And I shall certainly follow. I followed Brian already, but I'll reach out to him more now and see what goes. But he's been very brave, if you like, in his designs, and I know that perhaps the Rasta culture is far greater in America than it is here in the UK, although we do have quite a following. But it would be difficult to make a living out of making as high crown hats as he does over here in the UK. So I really admire somebody. I love the way that he puts the design. Well, he mentioned Louis Vuitton, and he puts that around the brim, underneath the brim, and so on. And these are, I guess, a particular cultural attraction to some of the youngsters that are out there. And fair play to him to do it.
Yeah, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to add him again. Anybody I add to the chat, I mentioned this to Kevin as well, and obviously I'll mention that again. Like, if you ever want to remove yourself from the group, nobody needs my permission. Obviously, that was just there as a way for me to have a core, right, an inner circle, and create that, and and everybody participates in various levels, and there's no judgment and nothing about that. I just like I dress very casually. I make sure that I let people do, let them live, right, and let them do what their way. And if it fits into my way, then even better. Then that way we can keep rocking on this. And now what I'm gonna do is I'll add Brian to that chat. I'll make sure that he includes his contact information. That way I can add it to the. I'll add also yours, Paul. So if there's like a select information that you want me to include on my the description, then I'll include that, and I'll try to see if I can make YouTube include that automatically. That way, it's one of those things.
It's very much appreciated. I think a bit of feedback. I don't know whether it's down to me being on here or what, but I've gained a few more followers on my YouTube channel, which it may well be that this is helping to widen my experience. That's, I'm not coming on here to tout my wares, but it's lovely to think that there might be a byproduct of that. But ultimately, I just want to share what I do, because honestly, it's brought me a new life. It's there are times when honestly, I sat down and thought, what am I going to do in my retirement, or in my semi-retirement, or in my later years? And I just don't know. Oh, what we've got here, strangely, I've never had.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Goes to show you, small world, and you never know.
There's a brand in London, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll have a quick look, because I might have bookmarked it. That Boy George, the pop star, he's made popular, and that's got the very high crown on it. But
another icon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow, I'm flabbergasted. I'm a little bit like, I've kind of like this kind of like took a little bit of left me a little speechless, because again, you guys already heard this before, but I'll repeat it because I always repeat myself. Who would have thought a month ago, this channel, I don't even know if it existed a month ago. And I got 2 hatters on here. I got Kevin saying that he's going to get on here. Obviously I had a program prepared, and I'll ditch that, because again, it's not about that. I do that as a contingency plan, not as like, we got to go and talk about these hats. Literally it's about interacting, right? It's kind of like, regardless of whether you want to jump on here on video, we got Ian here that's never been on video, but Ian is very much part of the program, and he's just as important. So this is kind of the way I envision this. Obviously, we will hit a point, if everything goes well, we'll hit a point where I'll have to kind of say, okay, we can't get more than 6 people on here and have a fruitful discussion. But that's a good problem to have, if you ask me,
I mean, it's far easier for me to jump on here and explain what I might have a point to explain, because I've got the hats and I've got the other bits and pieces here. But you know, I'm just as happy to do what Ian does and do the chat and things.
Yeah.
It's just nice to hear other people's ideas and thoughts. As you say, it'd be great to get some more people involved.
Yeah, yeah, and we will keep doing that. I mean, for the most part, obviously we've already announced, like, this is kind of the inaugural Hat Tuesday episode. We will have Fedora Friday. I don't know. I didn't look at the poll, but I sent out that poll to kind of give everybody. If somebody really hates every movie there, then maybe I'll switch. You know, I'll do. I reserve the right to change my mind, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I like the idea of Godfather right this moment. If you ask me right now, I like Godfather and I like Road to Perdition. So right now, for me, those two are like the front runners. But we'll see.
Yeah, funny enough, I was going to say the same, but I'm I'm open. But
yeah,
Ian's obviously had a good hat day in London today, I reckon.
yeah. All right. I've seen open crowns like that in Peru, right? So we talked about that. The indigenous women of Bolivia, right? You know, they are also hats. They are hat culture, right? So again, I don't know how many folks are familiar with that, but and I might butcher it, but the way I understood it is that when the Europeans made their way to Bolivia, they wore fine hats, and the locals, the indigenous, really couldn't afford, right? So they saw the style and they fell in love with it, but they couldn't afford to be able to pay. And it was some sort of there, you know, obviously we know about classes and a lot of that stuff. I won't get into that. But what they did was and I don't know why it was just the women, but the women kind of got together and said, we're going to make our own hats. We're going to make our own, and they're kind of bowler style hats with more of a decorative band. But I can't tell you any more about that than I already did. But it's a synonymous with they're called the Hat Women of Bolivia, and it's a beautiful, beautiful hats. They look very much indigenous in terms of like their dress, but the fine hat is gorgeous. So you never know, right? Like I said, the internet is one of those things that makes this world really small. Maybe one day we'll get somebody that is a lot more familiar and can speak on that, because I'm really fascinated by it. It just goes to show you, I geek out over that stuff.
I'll tell you, there's a row in London. If you go to central London, there's a great walk that I do around the hat shops. So I start off at Lock & Co and go in there and have a chat with the salespeople and what have you, and then walk around the corner to a shop that's a menswear shop, but they actually house the brand Bates & Co.
Yes.
And then there are Herbert Johnson is at I've forgotten about what is it? It's an arcade, Burlington Arcade, and then from there over to Piccadilly, and there's Laird. They have several hat shops over there, and they specialize in a lot of caps as well as fur felts, fedoras, and trilbies. And it's a great way to spend a couple of hours in the centre of London. Obviously, seeing lots of other things whilst you're on your journey, but maybe Ian and I'll have to have that pint. He can have his cigar, have our fish and chips, and then go for a wander around London. I think that's what we're building up to.
I love it. I love it because, again, if you need to have any reason to have that pint, you can at least say, to good Luke's, and then just get that process started before I make my way. I will do it. It's just a matter of when. But I'm gonna have that pint with you, fine gentlemen. It's just a matter of time.
Look forward to it. Yeah, good.
But what a great walk, right? So I mean, that you have in your backyard so many fine hat institutions to kind of inspire you, right?
Yeah, we have a mixture. We've still got hat makers like Fellsworth, which was an old brand operating out of Manchester now. And there are Christie's, of course. Christie's it's a funny thing. Christie's, they do a lot of lower end hats, but they also do their sort of imperial type red label, red lining hats, which are more fine fur felt hats. But by the purists, they're not really considered perhaps in the same league as Lock & Co and and
Right.
Herbert Johnson and so on. But yeah, we do have a nice selection if you know where to look for them.
Yeah.
We do also have quite a few individual hatters that are working out of their own homes. They're coming up with their own style, and of course,
Yeah.
social media has been a wonderful medium for people to use to get their brand out there and get their products out there. And I get so much pleasure just looking at what other hatters are doing. And only recently I was speaking to one of the hatters. They wanted a particular felt which I had in stock, and I sold it to them happily, and they used it for one of their customers' hats. I mean, and that to me is the essence of where we should be. Is forming these sort of alliances that where we help each other. We're not. A lot of people would like to think we're in strong competition, and we're begrudgingly talking to these people or not talking to these people. I'd say no. There's some great things. I mean, there's I'm thinking of Gary's name. I've forgotten what Gary's name is, but
Gary White,
Gary Rudd, I think. No, Gary.
okay.
Oh, no, what's his name? I will try and find it on here in just a second. But he's doing some oiled hats. Do you know what I mean by oiled hats?
Yeah.
The
By oiled, you said?
yeah, the sort of oiled finish.
I'm not as familiar. I've seen like the distressed look, right, with the flames. That's a trend that I've seen a lot more often, but I haven't heard of oiled. Yeah,
I'm just trying to find it. So I'm following him. Let's have a look.
One thing you Paul, you brought up a great point about the the folks that view this hobby, the ones that are in business that view it as a zero-sum game, right? There's a concept in negotiation that really it kind of opened everything up, right? If you're in business, and it's called the concept of expanding the pie, right? The idea of some people view a pie, like meaning that all the dollars, the amount of dollars that you have to go and collect, right, from your customers, that there's only a small pile and that's it. You have to kind of grab those piles. And if you grab one, you have to take $1 away from somebody else. And it's a very small-minded, narrow-minded focus, right? So one of those things where it's kind of a paradox, right, in a way. But those folks that move beyond that and get to like that next level and they start thinking about the expanding pie, they're the ones that are really out there collaborating, right? Because they don't view it as I'm taking $1. Like if that person makes $1 or a pound, that's one less pound or dollar for me. Like, no, that's not the way this works, right? We know that money gets printed, right? If you know how money works, fiat money, not gold, right? Gold gets produced as well, but fiat currency like the pound and the US dollar and the euro and all that stuff, it's all paper that gets printed. So even in a very real sense, expanding the pie makes sense. But in the conceptual sense, expanding the pie is really the only way you should view this, because that leads you to want to collaborate, to want to share even if you think if you have a secret that can't be shared, you would want to know. If you knew about expanding the pie and you thought that way, then you would be free to go share with your fellow hat making brother, with your customers, with your suppliers and all that stuff, only because you know that expanding the pie, there's more money to be made through collaboration and partnership than there is by going off on your own and being an island.
No, I agree. I mean, the gentleman I was thinking of was Gary Hull, and Gary Hull has got a business called Hull and Son. Yeah, and he, if you have a look at his website, he's actually making hats that are felt hats, but they're like solid sort of oiled type hats, very unusual. But he's got a certain following, and he puts on some hat classes to help people make their own hats, and he's helped me with a few bits. I've helped him with a few bits, and it's. And I think he's got. You talk about collaborations, and I think he's got a collaboration with somebody in New York. So he would probably be a good guy to get on the show if you can, because he's another specialist here in the UK doing a very niche product and actually collaborating already with somebody over the other side of the world.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. So I obviously anybody that's in my inner circle, and even if you're not in my inner circle, right? It's not a really crazy exclusive club, right? But you know, I really do value that inner circle because it keeps this channel grounded in moving and evolving in the right way beyond what happens in my own brain. But you know, basically, I kind of extend an open invitation. So even if you don't want to come here, but let's say you have a connection, right? You know a hatter, you know a hat shop, you know somebody that you can invite on here. I welcome you to shoot me a message or shoot somebody else in my circle, right? So obviously Paul, Kevin, now Brian, and Ian and Morgan. If any of you guys know somebody, or you know them, or somehow, some way can get somebody on here that you think could enhance the channel, you're really not going to get any kind of, you don't need my permission. You know, go ahead and share the information, share the channel, and then make that connection, you know, because again, I'm trying to do that, but I'm only one guy here, and it doesn't have to be on my channel, right? Paul has his own channel. I didn't get a chance to ask Brian whether he has his channel, but we know Kevin has his channel. I don't care where we do it. To be honest, it's not about my channel here. I just want to go, like I said, Kevin invited me to his channel. I will do that. Paul, I will come on if you ever want me. Again, no strings attached. If you just want me to just sit there and, you know, and watch and maybe ask you questions, I'm fine doing that. You know, it's one of those things where I'm like, I get a lot of energy besides my walking. This channel has been my right. I put some energy into it, but I get so much more out of it, and it just makes me geek out and ask what's next, right? What do I do next? What do I talk about next? And I'm just having fun.
Yeah. No, great. Good.
Ooh. Well, you know what? I mean, it's about an hour and a half. I'm so I'm jazzed, and I could probably do this for like a couple more hours, but it is approaching 12:30. I have not eaten anything. So maybe this is a good stopping point because I'm already I feel like we've gotten a really good show in. So before I go, I'm going to go and just say thank you to Paul directly because he's still with us here. Paul, thank you. I mean, you are a blessing. And, shout out to Paul and his YouTube channel. I placed it down here. Obviously, I will create one of these banners as well, maybe a combined banner. I don't know. I'll figure something out. That way, I can go and shout out not just Paul's, but also Brian's and Kevin when he gets on here. And whoever else needs some kind of promotion. Again, I'm not I don't come at this with my swelled head. I have a very small channel here, very small following, but you never know. Maybe at some point this will keep growing and I can help out even more. But regardless of how you feel, now it's you guys are part of the, let's see what Ian says here. Looks like I missed most of a great. Hey, you can catch us in syndication, Ian. All right. So, this network is not just about live. I start off live, but we go into syndication, and you can catch some of the great conversation that I had with Brian initially. And then when Paul jumped on here, I felt like it took that vibe that I was trying, had my vision, right? When I initially created this channel, it came to fruition. So I thank you, Paul. I thank Brian, Forbes, the Eccentric Black Hatter, for coming on. Brian, you are welcome here any single time with no obligation. You can stay just to say hi and leave whenever you want. And then I'll reach out to you and I'll bring you to my inner circle, right? My board of directors. And I feel like we got a great group. So shout out to Ian. Ian, I hope everything went well with your train trip. That's the first time. Hopefully everything's okay. And it was a pleasure trip. But thank you guys again. This has been Hat Tuesday #1. It's a momentous occasion for many fronts. And we'll see you on the next Hat Tuesday. But in the interim, we got Fedora Friday coming up on Friday. Right now, I haven't seen the poll, but it's not too late to go and cast your vote. Just go to my post section of my YouTube channel and cast your vote. Right now, if nobody votes, it's going to be either Road to Perdition or The Godfather. And I'm leading The Godfather because that's just That's just classic to me. I mean, they're both classics, but Godfather, everybody knows about Godfather. So if we don't get any participation, that's okay. I will use my my powers of discretion to go and choose the Godfather. But if you want to see something else profiled on Fedora Friday, it's not too late to vote. And you can add a comment, right? You can add a comment, maybe suggest one for the future. YouTube currently only gives me 4 options. So until that changes, I have to pick 4 options. So thank you guys. This has been Luke and Paul and Brian and Ian for Hat Tuesday #1. And obviously, you know, you guys seen the call to action, right? You guys can support Paul, you can support Brian, you can support my channel by hitting like and subscribe. But if you just do me one favor, stay hatting, my friend. Have a great day. Ciao.